Welcome back to Positive Energy. My name is PJ Zonsius and I'll be the host of the show today. We have a treat with Mark Riley, the Vice President of Clean Energy Fuels. I've known Mark for the last 10 years, but for the last 20 years, he's been leading the sales organization for clean energy. Mark, welcome to the show.
Hi PJ, how are you?
So Mark, not everybody out there knows about clean energy and knows about compressed natural gas, or what we'll talk about as far as CNG. Can you give me kind of a breakdown of who is clean energy?
Sure. Well, clean energy, we're focusing on decarbonizing the transportation sector. And so, back close to 25 years ago, Clean Energy was founded by Boone Pickens and Andrew Littlefair, who's our CEO and president. And they had a vision that natural gas was a perfect vehicle fuel. One, it's low emissions. Two, it's also when it's burned, it's low greenhouse gas emitting. So we get kind of a double whammy, and it's also American made. And so they built a number of stations in the western part of the United States, and began filling airport vehicles, trash trucks, and transit buses back in the mid-1990s.
That's awesome. So we've had a history together. I've gotten to know you. You've been a huge mentor in my life. Give me some insight on your story at Clean.
Well, I started out as a high school science teacher and realized pretty quickly that was not truly my calling. But I knew that I needed to still be in education, I guess. And so I found that alternative fuels was an opportunity for me to, one, talk about an opportunity to better the environment, but also help our energy security. And so back in 1999, I started in the alternative energy sector on the policy side, and then moved to American Honda Motor Company, who since 1997 had produced a natural gas Civic that was the cleanest vehicle on earth for, I believe, for all the years it was being produced. In 2002, I had an opportunity to join what was formerly Pickens Fuel Corp in their Phoenix office, and I was responsible for our Arizona business for about 4 years. And then I moved back to the East Coast, where I'm originally from, to help move the company to the Eastern United States. And so since 2005, I've been focusing on building Clean Energy's business in the eastern half of the United States, as well as all of Canada. So that's my responsibility today.
So that's quite a story. You mentioned Tboon. So how big of a role did Tboon play both at Clean Energy, and you got any fun stories about him?
Well, first of all, I mean, he was the visionary behind the company. I remember when I was working for the governor in New Hampshire, I was tasked with coming up with the state's alternative fuel vehicle program, and determine, what are we going to do? Or, back then there was a lot of talk about ethanol and, propane and natural gas and even electric vehicles back then. But just in the little library that we had at the office, there was a VHS tape that just said, Boone Pickens on it. And I was like, I didn't know who Boone was back at that point. And I put it in, and here's a guy probably back in the late 80s talking up natural gas vehicles. And it was a little piece that he put together for the Natural Gas Vehicle Coalition, or now NGV America, that it opened my eyes. And so it was funny, right after I watched that video, I went into my director's office and said, the Natural Gas Vehicle Coalition is having their annual conference in Minneapolis like 2 weeks later. And I was able to get approved to go. And actually, that's where I met Andrew Littlefair. Didn't meet Boone at that meeting, but he definitely influenced me to keep an eye out for opportunities at Clean Energy.
That's awesome. So Clean had a really big year this year. You guys announced quite a few partnerships. Can you kind of walk us through a couple of those?
Sure. So I'll start with Clean Energy has recently rebranded, as well as kind of refocused our efforts towards low carbon renewable natural gas. And so as part of that, because a lot of large trucking companies and large fleets have recognized the value of renewable natural gas and decarbonizing their fleet, we have announced two joint ventures, one with Total, who happens to be also our largest shareholder, and another one with BP to build RNG production facilities in North America to support RNG production. So that's really exciting because it means there's hundreds of millions of dollars going into development of RNG projects, and it's really kind of putting us back on the map. We started in the production business and we sold that business to BP about 4 years ago. So it's nice to be back into producing our own RNG.
And there's a small company called Amazon, right?
There is a small company called Amazon who has done an amazing job. Amazon for years was really heavily dependent on UPS and FedEx to move their products, and they just decided, I guess one day Jeff Bezos woke up and said, "Hey, I'm going to build a fleet of package delivery vehicles." And so so the great news is that Amazon is also bought into renewable natural gas and is deploying large fleet of mostly medium and heavy duty trucks running on natural gas. And we were excited to have them come on as a potential owner in clean energy, and have the opportunity to buy about 20% of our company over time. Of course, it requires them to buy more fuel from us.
Yeah.
So we're very excited about that.
That's really exciting, and I know you worked very hard on that. So congratulations.
Well, it was definitely a team effort. I definitely had a minimal influence on that one, but definitely our team across the country has been working very hard, not only in getting Amazon to select us as a partner, but also to help get these trucks running and up and using our fuel.
Awesome. So when we think about the future, what do you see as the biggest challenges for your business?
Well, it's funny. Tboon always talked about the timing of the business. He always felt that he was just a little early on things, and you know what? He was always long on oil and gas, and we were, so really I guess the biggest challenge is timing. Making sure that one, we execute on building these RNG facilities, execute on building additional fueling stations to support this growth in the trucking industry, and it's also challenged a little bit by COVID right now, but we're starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel, and we're making good progress.
So what do you think needs to be talked about more when it comes to natural gas and sustainability? What do you think isn't being talked about enough?
Well, that's a great question, and initially when we talked about CNG or LNG, it was always talking about it was environmentally sound, it was lower cost, it was American made, all really important things. And honestly, if we hadn't increased our production of natural gas in the United States, and as well as oil, we'd be still heavily dependent on foreign oil. Now today, this new emphasis on renewable natural gas, I've said this a couple times, that as long as humans exist, we are going to be producing methane. Whether it be from the food that we waste, or the dairy cows that we grow to make our milk, or chickens we eat as well. The manure and the waste from those industries can generate fuel that we can run our trucks on. And when we look at that opportunity, it's very exciting. When I share with folks that you can take these wastes and turn them into fuel, it just, the light bulb goes off.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I think there's a lot of distractions in the market that are kind of pulling everybody's eyes away from something that needs to happen regardless if we truly want to combat climate change.
Yeah.
So we're just getting the word out and being persistent and patient.
So when you think about clean energy 5 years from now, what's the story you want to tell?
Well, one, we'll be net zero carbon as a company. That's our big effort. 2025 is that all of our stations will be running renewable natural gas, and two, that our operations will be net zero carbon. I think that's a big deal, and that includes all of our customers that fuel with us. So that's our big effort. And I hope that we continue to grow at the rates that we are.
Yeah.
And I feel that with another 5 years under our belt, there'll be even other large fleets that have adopted RNG as their fuel.
Well, Mark, thank you for the time on Positive Energy. Thanks for what you're doing for the industry. I appreciate the friendship and the partnership with Clean Energy. Thanks for joining us today on Positive Energy. Please follow and like us on our social media channels, and stay safe out there.